So students, today we will be discussing about the mechanical systems and the types for analogous systems. So basically mechanical systems are classified into two types. One is translational systems and the second is the rotational systems. So translational system means, what do you mean by translational? That deal with the translational motion. That means the motion in a straight line. The motion in a straight line is called as the translational motion, so that all the systems that deal with translational motion in a straight line, the motion that acts in a straight line are called the translational system, while the rotational systems in which the motion is around a axis, that is rotational motion. So all the systems that deal with rotational motion are called the rotational system, in which we are going to deal with your motor, generator, in which something is rotating. So firstly we come on to the translational system and we will deal with the forces that act on that. So when we talk about a translational system, firstly this Ft is the external force that we have applied, and because this is the external force, so the system should move in this direction. The displacement is described by x. So these are our constants, k for the spring constant and b for the viscous friction constant. So basically we should know that what is a viscous friction first. So you all have learnt in electric and electronic circuits that when we have to deal with damping of the motion of your needles in your ammeters or voltmeters or any other equipment, what we do is we tie the needle with your this piston. This is the piston. This is all the same thing. This is the piston. Now this piston, when it is going inside, it has to act against the force applied by this oil that is filled here. So it has to work against that. So when it is going to move and press the oil, the motion here of this needle will be damped and it will not vibrate much. So this is called your viscous friction constant, that is given by B. Now we come on to your second constant, that is the spring constant. You all have heard about it. What a spring do is, when you apply a force in this direction, this spring is going to get stretched, and when you are going to leave the force, it is going to retract back. So that means it is going to store it as the potential energy. So we have got the spring constant as K. So these are the forces that act on it, and the inertia force we are reading from class 9th onwards, that it is basically dependent on your mass into acceleration, where acceleration is the double derivative of the position. So here we have got our three terms, that is inertia force ma, md square x by dt square, damping force bv, b dx by dt, that is proportional to the velocity of that piston that we described. Similarly, the spring force is given by k into x. It is more the displacement, more is the force by which it goes back. So it is proportional to the displacement. And so depending on all these forces, we have got a D'Alembert's principle that say that the force, external force acting on a body is equal to the force that oppose motion. So this principle is called as the D'Alembert's principle. So according to this principle, the external force that is acting on the body is this Ft, and all these forces, that is Ma, Kx and Bv, they all are acting against the external force. They want to stay in their initial state. So they all are acting in the opposite direction to this applied force. So here we have got the equation depending on the D'Alembert's principle, that this external applied force is equal to the sum of these three forces. So mark it as equation number 1. All of you have to write it in your notebooks, because this we are going to use again and again in the numericals yet to come. Now we write down the equation for the rotational system. So rotational system, instead of force, we talk about torque here, because this is the twisting moment that is applied on the shaft. This is the shaft, this is J, that is the moment of inertia of the body. That M is replaced by J here. So similarly, your inertia force here, it is replaced by the inertia torque, the damping force, damping torque, and the spring force by the spring torque. So here we have got your, in the same terms, but here it was displacement and here it will be your angular displacement. So your inertia torque is equal to J d square theta by dt square. The damping torque will be equal to B d theta by dt, and the spring torque will be K theta. Again, according to your D'Alembert's principle, external applied torque will be equal to all the torques that acts in the opposing motion. So here external torque will be equal to J d square theta by dt square plus B d theta by dt plus K theta. Mark it as equation number 2. We will again be requiring it for defining the analogous systems. So now we come on to what are analogous systems. All those systems that are defined by the same order of the differential equation. Now just check out here. We defined this equation as equation number 1 and this one as equation number 2. So here you can see that if there is a second order differential term, then in both the equations it is there. Similarly the first order term, and similarly without it. So we have only to equate all these constants, like force here is equivalent to torque, M here is equivalent to moment of inertia, X displacement is equal to angular displacement, B is equivalent to B, and K is equivalent to X. So that means all these systems, all these two systems make out to be analogous of each other. That means if we know one, then we can transform it to the another form. So depending on this, we have got the analogy table for force and torque. So this table we are going to extend in the next lecture by introducing our current dependent and voltage dependent analogous systems here. So you have to keep some space here, because we are going to add 2 more columns here for your current and voltage analogy systems. So now we start with the field controlled DC motor mathematical modeling. So basically, if we check it out, in our previous classes we have studied about a DC motor, how it works. It has got a field wiring, it has got a armature wiring. It is of 2 types basically, the DC motor, armature controlled and field controlled. Basically, what is the difference between the two? When we are keeping our armature side constant and we are only varying the field current, then because the output speed is getting controlled by variations in the field current, so this is called the field controlled DC motor. So this is the main difference between a field controlled and the armature controlled DC motor. When we will be talking about armature control, then the field will be kept constant and armature will be varied. So here IF will be varied. So next, your IA is constant and the torque is proportional to IF and IA. Because this is constant, we will be replacing it by a constant and we will be having our first equation as torque is equals to KF IF. Now next we will be applying the KVL in the field circuit. So here we can see that applying it here, we get your VF equals to IF RF plus IF into LF into DIF by dt. So here we have got our next equation. Now the next one is of the rotational mechanical system. We are this, because we have not taken K here, so I have skipped the K theta term here. So we have got our this equation. Now just check out the flow of the working of this DC motor. Firstly, we apply the field voltage. When we apply the field voltage, IF starts to flow. So after VF, IF comes into picture. When IF flows into your this winding, a flux gets developed in the system. This flux gets linked to your armature, and this armature develops a torque. So after IF we will be getting our torque, and after torque there will be a angular displacement of your this shaft, right? So we will be arranging all these terms like this. Our first equation, first transfer function should relate VF and IF. Our second transfer function should relate IF and torque, while the third should relate torque and theta. So I have just marked all of them here. From this I can take my IF out, and this IF is the output because this is the output and this is the input. So the Laplace transform of output to input gives me this transfer function. Similarly, now your T is the output and IF becomes the input, so it gives me your this transfer function. And similarly, theta is the output and torque is the input, so it gives me my this transfer function. Rearranging them one by one like this, first VF then IF, which transfer function gives me this thing? This one. So I have marked it here. Similarly, then IF acts as the input and torque as the output, which gives me this one. So now the next one is theta is the output and torque is the input. This is the transfer function that gives me. So this complete becomes the mathematical model of my this field controlled DC motor. So now we have come on to our armature controlled DC motor. So basically what is the difference here is, if you check the diagram, it is the same. But what is happening is, now this thing is constant. We are not applying any external voltage here, but we are applying the voltage here. Now what is the property of the armature? Because the armature is consisting of the coils. So as soon as we apply a voltage here, a back EMF EB is developed here. So this is the main difference in the armature controlled DC motor. So now because this is armature controlled, so your IA is getting varied while your IF is constant. So here our equation will be having, this is IF is constant now. So our torque will be dependent upon, this is constant. So our torque will be equal to KAIA while IF is constant. So we have got our first equation as this one. Now KVL in this field circuit, now just see here, we have got VA and EB always opposes VA. So we have got the equation here as VA minus EB equals to the same thing that we have done before, but it will be in the terms of armature values, components. So VA minus EB will be this thing, and here we have got our second equation. Torque equation will remain same, there will be no change in this, but what we have to add on is the value of EB. Basically the back EMF is dependent upon the speed of the shaft. More the speed, more will be the back EMF. So EB will be equal to proportional to the speed, so that is d theta by dt, and here we have got our fourth equation. Now rest of the things will remain same. Let's check out the flow here. VF will not be here, now it will be VA will give IA, IA will give torque, torque will give theta, theta will give the value of EB, and EB is attached to your VA. So basically in this equation has got added up because EB is the output and theta is the input now. So here we come on to, here is your VA minus EB here, this thing VA minus EB. This is my summer along with the symbol of negative because VA is getting subtracted, EB is getting subtracted from VA. So VA minus EB gives me IA, then IA gives me torque, then torque gives me theta, and this theta acts as the input to give me the EB. So here I have got KBS, so this KBS is the transfer function here. So basically when we talk about this is our feedback in the armature controlled DC motor, and this is a very good example of your closed loop system. So if you have got the numerical the question on the define and make a mathematical model of any closed loop system, so armature controlled DC motor comes under closed loop system, while field controlled DC motor comes under your open loop control system. Thank you so much. That's all for today.